The massive ship appeared in Earth's sky without warning. It was larger than anything humanity had ever built. Admiral Day Wan stood in the command center in Seoul, watching the screens with growing concern. The ship blocked out the stars. Around it, 47 smaller vessels took formation. Each one of those smaller ships could destroy Earth's entire defense fleet. "Sir, they're sending a message," said Captain Ji-won from her station. "Put it through," Day-won replied. The screen filled with an alien face. It had feathers instead of skin and eyes that looked like dark glass. This was Counselor Voth, representative of the Galactic Council. Humanity had only known about aliens for 5 years. In that time, Earth had tried to be friendly. Apparently, that did not matter. "People of Earth," Voth's voice came through the translator. "The Galactic Council has reached a decision regarding your species. You have expanded too quickly. You have built weapons too eagerly. You show aggression in everything you do." Day-won felt his jaw tighten. Humans had only colonized Mars and a few moons. Meanwhile, the Council controlled thousands of worlds. "Therefore," Voth continued, "we give you 72 hours. You will surrender all authority to the Council. You will dismantle your weapons. You will accept our guidance. If you refuse, we will implement containment protocols." The message ended. The room fell silent. Everyone knew what containment protocols meant. The Council did not make empty threats. Dr. Hannah Park, the chief expert on alien languages, spoke up. "Admiral, I've been monitoring their communications. There's something strange in their quantum signals." "Strange how?" Day-won asked. "They're searching for something. Every few minutes, their sensors pulse out, like they're looking for a specific energy signature." Captain Ji-won pulled up a classified file on her screen. "Sir, you need to see this. Intelligence has records of 12 other species that received similar ultimatums over the past 300 years. And?" Day-won moved closer. "And they all disappeared, sir. Every single one. The Council said they refused to cooperate. But there's no debris fields, no ruins, nothing. It's like they were erased." The room grew colder. Day-won had suspected the Council was ruthless, but this was genocide on a scale hard to imagine. "What are our options?" he asked. His chief of staff pulled up tactical displays. "None, sir. Their technology is centuries ahead. Our missiles can't penetrate their shields. Our ships are too slow. If we fight, we lose in minutes." "Then we don't fight," Day-won said quietly. "At least not the way they expect. Activate Project Baekdu." Several officers gasped. Project Baekdu was humanity's deepest secret. 20 years ago, miners on Mars had found something buried in the red soil. It was a crystalline device, clearly artificial, clearly ancient. Scientists had studied it for 2 decades. They barely understood it. But they knew one thing. The device only responded to humans. When aliens touched it, nothing happened. When humans were near, it hummed with energy. "Sir," Ji-won said carefully, "we don't know what that device does. It could make things worse. Look at our situation, Captain. How could it get worse?" Day-won walked to the window. Outside, people went about their lives unaware that extinction might be 3 days away. "The Council thinks we're helpless. Maybe we are. But I'd rather die trying something than die on our knees." Dr. Hannah was still studying her screens. "Admiral, their search pattern just intensified. Whatever they're looking for, they think it's here." "Could they be looking for the artifact?" someone asked. "Maybe. Or maybe they're looking for something else humanity has." Day-won turned back to his team. "Here's what we're going to do. Publicly, we'll ask for negotiations. We'll play for time. Privately, we move the artifact to the lunar facility and prepare to activate it." "And if it doesn't work," Ji-won asked, "then we go down fighting. Alert all defense stations. Evacuate civilians to underground shelters. Make it look like we're preparing to surrender, but ready our ships for combat." As his staff rushed to carry out orders, Day-Wan looked back at the alien fleet filling Earth's orbit. Humanity had dreamed of meeting aliens for centuries. They had imagined sharing knowledge, becoming part of a galactic community. Instead, they found bullies and threats. 72 hours, he muttered. Dr. Hana approached him. Sir, I believe the artifact is connected to the Council somehow. The energy signatures match. Whatever the device is, they're afraid of it. Good, Day-Wan said. Fear is a weapon too. The countdown began. On Earth, people learned their world was under threat. Some panicked, some prayed, some prepared to fight. In Seoul, Admiral Day-Wan made arrangements he hoped would never be needed. Emergency government bunkers, final message capsules to be sent to humanity's colonies, last testaments. But in a secret facility on the moon, scientists carefully moved an ancient crystalline device into position. Dr. Tae-min, who had spent 15 years studying the artifact, ran his hands over its surface. It felt warm. It felt alive. What are you? He whispered to it. And why do you only wake up for us? The device pulsed with soft blue light, as if answering. In orbit above Earth, the Council's sensors detected the pulse. Alarms sounded on Voth's flagship. The search was over. They had found what they feared. And now there was no turning back. Dr. Tae-min had not slept in 36 hours. The crystalline device sat in the center of the lunar facility, suspended in a magnetic field. It was beautiful in a way that hurt to look at, geometry that seemed both simple and impossible, colors that had no names. Tell me again how you found this, Commander Soo-jin said. She led the Special Operations team guarding the facility. Mining crew hit it at 300 meters depth, Tae-min replied, checking readings. It was inside solid rock, no tunnels, no excavation, like it had been placed there before the rock formed. How old? Carbon dating doesn't work on it. The material isn't from Earth, possibly not from this galaxy. He pulled up an image. But we found something near it. Human DNA. Not modern human, but close. Maybe 50,000 years old. Soo-jin frowned. That's impossible. Humans didn't have space travel 50,000 years ago. I know what the textbooks say. I'm telling you what we found. Tae-min moved to another console. And there's more. We tested the device with every species we could get genetic samples from. Council species, their client races, everything. No reaction. But any human who touches it, the device wakes up. On Earth, Admiral Day-Wan received updates. The Council had rejected all requests for negotiation. Their deadline was now 6 hours away. Military satellites showed their weapons charging. The energy buildup was enormous. Sir, Captain Ji-won reported, we're detecting movement in their fleet. They're forming an execution pattern. They're not even going to wait for the deadline, Day-Wan said bitterly. He opened a secure channel to the moon. Dr. Tae-min, we're out of time. Activate the device. In the lunar facility, Tae-min felt his hands shake. We still don't know what it does. Whatever it does, it's better than extinction. Do it. Tae-min nodded to his team. They had prepared for this. He placed his palm on the device's surface. It felt warm, welcoming, like it recognized him. The blue light intensified. Energy readings spiked across every instrument. Then the device released a pulse. It was not loud. It was not visible. But every human on Earth, on Mars, on every colony and ship felt it. A wave of warmth that passed through their bodies in an instant. Comforting, ancient, like a voice saying, "We remember you." In orbit, the Council ships went dark. Every system shut down for exactly 3 seconds. Then they came back online. On the flagship, observer Mirax roared in alarm. He was a massive reptilian creature, covered in armored scales. What was that? Unknown energy pulse from the planet's moon, a technician reported. Our quantum network lost connection briefly. Connection to what? That's what's strange, sir. We lost connection to something that isn't in our database, something our network was entangled with that we didn't know about. Mirax did not like mysteries. Inform the Council, accelerate the timetable, charge all weapons to full. We destroy this planet now. But before his order could be carried out, the device pulsed again. Stronger this time. The warmth every human felt became heat, not painful, but undeniable, like standing in summer sun. On the flagship, alarms screamed. Sir, our containment fields are fluctuating. The quantum drive is showing impossible readings. Impossible how? Mirax demanded. It says we're being pulled into a phase shift, but nothing is strong enough to pull a ship this size through dimensional barriers. The device pulsed a third time. This time, humans felt it in their bones, in their blood, like an echo of something they should remember but had forgotten. And the Council fleet began to glow. Admiral Day Wan watched from Earth in stunned silence. 48 alien vessels, each one massive and terrible, were lighting up like stars, not from weapons fire, from within. A brilliant white light poured from every seam and window. Sir, they're sending a transmission, Ji-Wan said. Her voice shook. The screen showed Observer Mirax, but his arrogance was gone. His eyes were wide with terror. Warning to all Council forces, we are detecting a Phase 9 cascade event. This energy signature matches the forbid. The transmission cut off. The light from the ships became blinding. Then, in absolute silence, the entire Council fleet vanished. All 48 ships, gone in an instant. Earth's sensors swept the orbital space frantically. No debris, no heat signatures, no radiation. The space where the ships had been was simply empty. Where did they go? Ji-Wan whispered. Nobody had an answer. On the moon, Dr. Taman stared at the device. It had stopped pulsing. The blue light faded to a gentle glow. Readings showed it was returning to dormant state. Commander Sujin touched her earpiece. Lunar base to Earth command. The artifact has powered down. All readings normal. Taman is unconscious but stable. Taman had collapsed the moment the third pulse ended. Medical teams rushed to him. He was alive, just exhausted, as if the device had pulled energy from him. On Earth, people emerged from shelters cautiously. News spread quickly. The alien fleet that had threatened humanity was gone. Some celebrated, others waited for the next threat. Admiral Day Wan knew better than to relax. Get me every scientist we have, he ordered. I want to know what we just did, and I want to know where those ships went. They can't just disappear. But as Earth's sensors continued to sweep, they found something strange. The space where the Council flagship had been was now different. Instruments couldn't read it properly. It was like a void, a spot where their sensors just stopped working. Dr. Hana studied the data. It's not empty space. It's something else, like a door or a hole. Our equipment can't see past it. Can anything come back through? I don't know. While Earth tried to understand what happened, other species across the galaxy noticed the Council's absence. Emergency signals went unanswered. Trade routes went unmanaged. The Council had ruled for thousands of years. Suddenly, they were simply gone. And in the lunar facility, as Dr. Taman regained consciousness, the crystalline device began to glow again, but this time differently. Information started flowing from it. Star maps, coordinates, data in languages no living human knew, but somehow Taman could read. Get the Admiral, he said weakly. This thing is trying to tell us something about who we really are. Captain Hyun-Sik guided his scout ship carefully through the coordinates. Earth Command had sent him to investigate where the Council flagship had been. Now he wished they had sent someone else. This is not normal space, his co-pilot said nervously. She was right. The void ahead looked wrong. Not black like space should be. It was absence, like something had cut a hole in reality and left nothing behind. Take readings at minimum safe distance, Hyun-sik ordered. They tried. Every sensor they pointed at the void returned garbage data. Or worse, no data at all. Radiation detectors went silent. Gravitational sensors showed contradictory readings. One said infinite mass, another said 0. "We need to report this," the co-pilot said. Back on Earth, Dr. Hana studied their transmission. She had assembled a team of the best scientists humanity had. None of them had ever seen anything like this. "It's like the ships were pulled out of our dimension," she explained to Admiral Daewon. "But not destroyed, just removed to somewhere else." "Somewhere else," Daewon repeated. "Is that even possible? A week ago, I would have said no. Now?" She gestured at the data. "The Council's final transmission mentioned a Phase 9 cascade. That's not any scientific term I know. But they also said something else. They said the signature matched the forbid, and then they cut off. The forbidden what? That's what we need to find out." While Earth puzzled over the void, communications started arriving from across the galaxy. Other species had noticed the Council's disappearance. Some were confused, some were angry, and some were terrified. Ambassador Young-ho received the first official contact. It came from a species called the Cygnus Alliance. They had been under Council control for 600 years. "We request immediate meeting with Earth representatives," their message said. "We must speak with the inheritors." Young-ho frowned at the word. Inheritors. Why would they call humans that? The meeting took place on a neutral space station. The Cygnus delegates were insectoid, with multiple arms and crystalline eyes. Their leader, Ambassador Rian, seemed both excited and frightened. "You did it," Rian said. "You activated the progenitor device." "The what?" Young-ho asked. "Do not pretend ignorance. The Council has searched for progenitor artifacts for millennia. They found several, but none would activate. Only humans can use them. This is written in the old legends." Young-ho felt a chill. "What legends?" Rian leaned forward. "The legends say that long ago, before the Council, another power ruled the galaxy. They were called the progenitors. They built wonders. They seeded life on thousands of worlds. And then they vanished. The Council took over after they left. But the legends say the progenitors would return. Or their inheritors would." Back on the moon, Dr. Tai Min was experiencing something impossible. When he touched the artifact now, images flooded his mind. Not random images, memories, but not his memories. He saw cities that touched the clouds, ships that could cross the galaxy in hours, humans but different, taller, stronger. Their eyes glowed with intelligence that seemed beyond normal limits. "What am I seeing?" he asked the empty room. The artifact answered, not in words, in pure understanding. It showed him star maps, thousands of systems, each one marked with a symbol, the same symbol he had seen on the artifact. Engineer Nari worked with Tai Min to decode the information. She was brilliant with computers, and the artifact was responding to her too. Data flowed faster when multiple humans interacted with it. "These coordinates," she said, pulling up a galactic map. "I'm finding matches. There are voids at these locations too. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands." "Voids like the one where the Council fleet went?" "Exactly like that." Nari's fingers flew across controls. "Whatever happened here has happened before, many times, and the artifact knew about all of them." Dr. Hana joined them via video link from Earth. "We intercepted more Council communications, from before they vanished. They were discussing something called protocol extinction, a fail-safe built into their quantum network." "What kind of fail-safe?" Taemin asked. "One that activates if they ever threaten the progenitors or their inheritors." Hana pulled up translated documents. The Council wasn't always in charge. They were created to be caretakers, guardians of the galaxy while humanity was absent. while humanity was what? Absent. That's what the documents say. Humanity underwent something called a biological reset, a return to primitive state. The Council was supposed to maintain civilization until humans reached the stars again naturally. Taman felt his head spin. You're saying ancient humans ruled the galaxy? I'm saying that's what the Council believed, and they were terrified of it. Hana highlighted a passage. Listen to this. Should the inheritors return and face threat from the Council, the progenitor network will activate removal protocols. All who threaten humanity will be placed in quarantine until judgment is rendered. Quarantine, Nari said softly. Not destroyed, quarantined. The implications hit them all at once. The Council fleet was not dead. It was trapped somewhere, waiting, and Earth held the key to their prison. Admiral Day Wan called an emergency meeting of Earth's leadership. Representatives from every nation gathered in Seoul. The information was shared. Arguments began immediately. We need to bring them back, one delegate said. We can't keep thousands of beings imprisoned. They were going to commit genocide, another argued. They deserve this. What we deserve is answers. Daewon cut through the noise. Dr. Taman, can the artifact tell us more? Taman appeared on screen from the moon. He looked exhausted, but determined. Yes, and it wants to. The information is unlocking in stages, like it's testing if we're ready. The latest data shows something important. The Council wasn't evil. They were programmed. Their entire civilization was built on specific rules set by the progenitors. What rules? Someone asked. 3 primary directives. Maintain galactic peace, prevent extinction-level conflicts, and prepare for humanity's return. Taemin pulled up files. But over thousands of years, the Council forgot why those rules existed. They thought they were in charge. When humanity started exploring space, the Council saw competitors, not the ones they were supposed to serve. The room fell silent. Finally, Ambassador Young Ho spoke. So we're not just inheriting technology, we're inheriting responsibility for an entire galaxy. It looks that way, Taemin confirmed. Outside, the galaxy was changing rapidly. Without the Council, old conflicts reignited. Species began fighting over territory. Trade routes collapsed. The careful balance maintained for millennia was breaking apart. And Earth, the youngest spacefaring species, suddenly found itself at the center of it all. The artifact was not just a weapon. It was a key to humanity's past, and possibly their future. The artifact finally revealed its full message 3 weeks after the Council vanished. Dr. Taemin stood before it as holographic images filled the lunar chamber. The language was ancient, but somehow every human present could understand it. "We are the progenitors," the message began. The voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. "We are your ancestors. We are you, from a time when humanity reached for the stars and claimed them." Professor Yun-ji, Earth's leading archaeologist, watched in amazement. She had spent her career studying human origins. Everything she thought she knew was about to change. The hologram showed images of Earth, but different. Cities of crystal and light covered the continents. Ships filled the skies. 50,000 years ago, we ruled this galaxy, not through force but through innovation. We uplifted hundreds of species. We built networks that connected billions of worlds. We thought ourselves invincible. The scene changed. Now it showed war, terrible war. But power corrupts. We became arrogant. We stopped listening to the species we had helped. We made decisions for others, believing we knew best. Rebellions started. We crushed them. More rebellions came. We crushed those too, until we realized the horrible truth. Admiral Daewon watched from Earth, connected by video link. He saw himself in those ancient humans, the same desire to protect, the same willingness to use force, the same slippery slope. We had become monsters, the progenitor voice continued. Everything we built was poisoned by our arrogance, so we made a choice, a terrible, necessary choice. We would reset ourselves, return to the beginning, forget what we had become. Professor Yunji gasped. They deliberately made themselves primitive? We seeded a small population on Earth with no memory of what we had been, the message explained. We erased our own history. We designed the process to take tens of thousands of years. Time for humanity to grow again, naturally this time. Time to develop wisdom along with strength. The hologram showed the creation of the Council, various species, all looking uncertain. We created the Council from species we had uplifted. We programmed them with one absolute law: protect the galaxy while humanity relearns what it means to reach for the stars. And when humanity returns, when you rebuild civilization through your own efforts, the Council must step aside. They were supposed to protect us? Captain Ji-Wan said from her station on Earth. They tried to exterminate us. The Council forgot their purpose, the progenitor message continued, as if hearing her question. We expected this. Over millennia, programming degrades. Culture changes. That is why we built the artifacts, fail-safes. If the Council ever threatens humanity, they will be removed to a quarantine dimension. There they will remain until you decide their fate. The hologram changed again, showing the artifact itself. This device is both key and judge. It responds only to human neural patterns. Only you can free the Council. Only you can choose what happens next. We give you 3 options. Images appeared, floating in the air. Option 1. Leave the Council in quarantine forever. They threatened you. They deserve punishment. The galaxy is yours to rule. Option 2. Release the Council without conditions. Forgive them. Allow them to return to power. Perhaps they have learned. Option 3. Release the Council under new terms. Build something better than what we made. Build something better than what they made. Build a true community among the stars. The message began to fade. Choose wisely, our children. We failed because we thought power meant we were right. You now have that same power. Will you repeat our mistakes? Or will you prove that humanity has finally grown wise enough to match its strength? The hologram disappeared. The chamber fell silent. Professor Yunji sat down hard. They wiped out their entire civilization to start over. That's beyond anything I imagined. It explains the ruins, Dr. Taemin said quietly. We found strange structures on Mars, Venus, Titan. We thought they were alien, but the DNA we found matches human genetic markers. On Earth, Ambassador Rion from the Cygnus Alliance requested another meeting. This time, dozens of species sent representatives. Word had spread. Everyone wanted to know what humanity would choose. The galaxy is in chaos, Rion explained. Without the Council, old wars have resumed. Species fight over resources. Some demand Earth fill the void and take control. Others fear you will be worse than the Council. Ambassador Young-ho felt the weight of it. What do you think we should do? I think, Rion said carefully, that you should not make this decision alone. The progenitors ruled without asking others. The Council ruled without listening. Perhaps it is time for something different. Back on the moon, Dr. Taemin accessed deeper files in the artifact. What he found made his blood run cold. Admiral, you need to see this. The files showed more of progenitor history. The wars had been worse than the message suggested. Entire species exterminated, planets burned, all because the progenitors believed they knew what was best. They weren't just arrogant, Taemin said. They were genocidal. The reset wasn't just about learning wisdom, it was about stopping themselves before they destroyed everything. Professor Yunji joined the conversation. I've been analyzing the archaeological evidence. The timeline matches. 50,000 years ago, there was a sudden decline in human population. We always thought it was a natural bottleneck, environmental disaster or disease. But what if we did it to ourselves on purpose? A species-wide suicide and rebirth, Young Ho said softly. To escape what they had become. Admiral Day-Wan called together Earth's leaders again. This time he also invited representatives from the other species. The room was filled with different forms of life. Insectoid, reptilian, aquatic, crystalline. All waiting to hear what humanity would decide. We've learned about the progenitors, Day-Wan began, our ancestors, and we've learned why they disappeared. They became tyrants, they recognized it, and they chose to erase themselves rather than continue down that path. He paused, looking around the room. Now we face the same choice they did. We have power, we have technology, we can rule this galaxy. The question is, should we? Young Ambassador Kite stood up. He was young, barely 30, but he spoke with conviction. The progenitors failed because they decided for everyone. The council failed because they forgot to listen. If we're going to be different, we need to start now. This decision should not be ours alone. What are you suggesting? Someone asked. I'm suggesting we ask the galaxy what they want, not command. Ask, and really listen to the answer. Murmurs spread through the assembled representatives. It was such a simple idea, so obvious. Yet neither the progenitors nor the council had thought of it. Ambassador Rian stood. If you truly mean this, then you are already different from those who came before. The council never asked our opinion. They commanded. If Earth is willing to listen, then perhaps there is hope for all of us. Over the next 30 days, Earth sent envoys throughout the galaxy. They asked the same question everywhere. What kind of governance do you want? Some species wanted Earth to take charge. Others wanted independence. Most wanted something in between. The answers were complex, messy, full of disagreement. But that was the point. Real democracy was never simple. Finally, Earth made its decision. They would activate the artifact one more time. They would bring the council back, but not to restore them to power. President Sang-Ho addressed the United Earth Assembly. Representatives from every nation sat in the chamber. Outside, billions watched on screens. In orbit, ships from 100 different species waited to see what humanity would choose. We have decided, Sang-Ho said simply. We will bring the council back, but not to return things to how they were. We will offer them a new compact, a new way forward. Some delegates objected immediately. They tried to exterminate us. Why should we show mercy? Young Ambassador Kite stood. Because mercy is what separates us from what the progenitors became. Yes, the council threatened us. Yes, they were arrogant. But they were also following programming set thousands of years ago. They forgot their purpose. That doesn't mean they can't remember. And if they refuse the new compact? Someone asked. Then they stay in quarantine, Admiral Day-Wan said firmly. This is not weakness. This is giving them one chance, one choice. The same choice the progenitors gave us. The vote was close, but it passed. Earth would recall the council under specific terms. No single species would hold absolute power. All decisions would involve representatives from multiple civilizations. The era of dictatorship was over. Dr. Taimin prepared the artifact. Are we sure this will work? No, Dr. Hana admitted. But we're sure doing nothing is worse. Taimin placed his hands on the crystalline device. This time he knew what to do. He thought clearly about what humanity wanted. Not revenge, not power. A new beginning. The artifact pulsed. Blue light filled the lunar chamber. Across the galaxy, the voids began to shimmer. On Earth, people watched the sky. The void where the council flagship had been started to glow. Reality bent and twisted. Then, with a sound like thunder, the ships returned. All 48 vessels reappeared exactly where they had vanished. But something was different. Their weapons were offline. Their shields were down. Every screen showed the same message in every language. Quarantine complete, releasing council custody to human authority. On the flagship, observer Marax stumbled to his feet. Around him, his crew was waking up as if from a dream. But it had not been a dream. It had been a nightmare. "How long?" someone asked. Marax checked the chronometer. Only seconds had passed in real space, but inside the quarantine dimension, they had experienced 10,000 years. 10,000 years of isolation. 10,000 years with only the progenitor message repeating, "Remember who you serve. Remember why you exist." A communication came through from Earth. Counselor Voth, the avian who had delivered the ultimatum, opened the channel. He saw human faces. He expected anger, revenge. Instead, he saw something else. "Counselor Voth," Admiral Day Wan said calmly, "welcome back. We need to talk." The meeting took place on the same neutral station where Earth had met Ambassador Rion. This time, the room was packed. Council species on one side, humans and their new allies on the other. Voth entered the chamber slowly. He looked different, humbled. 10,000 years of isolation had changed him. "I owe you an apology," he said without preamble. "We forgot our purpose. We thought we were rulers. We forgot we were caretakers." "What did you experience?" President Sang-Ho asked. "Truth," Voth replied. "In the quarantine dimension, we could not lie to ourselves. We saw what we had become. We saw every species we had bullied, every civilization we had suppressed. We watched, over and over, the moment we threatened you, and we understood our failure." He looked around the room. The progenitors created us to maintain peace while humanity rediscovered itself. Instead, we became what they had been, arrogant, controlling. We failed our creators. We failed you. We failed ourselves. Ambassador Young-Ho leaned forward. "We're not interested in blame. We're interested in solutions. The galaxy is falling apart without coordination. Trade has collapsed. Wars have started. We need governance, but not the kind you provided before." "What do you propose?" Voth asked. Kaite stood and walked to the center of the room. He was young enough to be idealistic, but smart enough to be practical. "We propose a galactic assembly. Every species gets representation. Decisions are made collectively. No one species holds absolute power, including humans." "You have the progenitor artifacts," Voth said. "You could rule absolutely. Why would you give that up?" "Because that's what destroyed our ancestors," Kaite replied. "They had power. They used it. They became monsters. We've learned from their mistakes." Voth was silent for a long moment. Then he bowed his head. "The Council accepts. We will dissolve our hegemony. We will join the Assembly as equals." Over the next months, the transformation began. Dr. Hana established the Galactic Academy on Earth. Species from across the stars came to learn and teach. Old enemies sat in the same classrooms. Slowly, understanding replaced fear. Admiral Day Wan oversaw the creation of a true peacekeeping force. Not a military to enforce one species' will, but a coalition to prevent extinction-level conflicts. 100 species contributed ships and personnel. They learned to work together. Earth shared the progenitor technology freely. Jump gate construction, terraforming, medical advances that could save billions. Some advisors argued this was foolish. Why give away advantages? "Because hoarding knowledge is what the progenitors did," President Sang-Ho explained. "It led to resentment, rebellion. We're building something different. Trust." Not everyone was happy. Some human factions wanted Earth to rule. Some alien species still feared humanity. But slowly the new system took hold. On Mars, young Ambassador Kaite led an expedition to explore progenitor ruins. The Red Planet had been a major hub in the ancient network. Deep beneath the surface, they found archives. What they discovered made Kaite call an emergency meeting. There's more, he told the assembly. The progenitors left warnings, messages for us, about what happened to them. The archives told a darker story than the artifact had revealed. The progenitors had not just been arrogant. They had engineered other species. They had played God. And when those species rebelled, the progenitors had tried to erase them. They were worse than we thought, Kite said quietly. The reset wasn't just punishment. It was prevention. They knew they couldn't stop themselves, so they removed themselves from the equation entirely. Professor Unji studied the files. Listen to this final message. To our descendants, we give you our knowledge but not our authority. We give you our tools but not our dominion. If you ever find yourselves wielding power as we did, remember what it cost us. Remember that we chose to die rather than continue. Choose better. The message spread across the galaxy. Some species were horrified. Others were sympathetic. All understood the lesson. Counselor Voth met with Kite privately. Your ancestors were monsters. Mine were cowards who let themselves forget their purpose. Perhaps together we can be better than either. That's the idea, Kite agreed. The Galactic Assembly grew. Not perfectly. There were arguments, disagreements, even small conflicts. But they were resolved through dialogue, not extermination. The council species voluntarily gave up their advanced positions. Humans shared their progenitor inheritance. Slowly, carefully, something new was born. Not an empire, not a hegemony, a true community. Dr. Taemin continued studying the artifacts. They revealed more locations, more technology, more warnings. Each one reinforced the same message. Power without wisdom leads to destruction. Years passed. The galaxy stabilized. Trade resumed. New species joined the assembly. Some chose independence but maintained friendly relations. That was allowed now. No one forced unity. On Earth, in the Museum of Human History, they placed a simple monument. It showed two timelines. One of the progenitors, rising to greatness and falling to tyranny. One of modern humanity, growing slowly but sustainably. Between them, an inscription. We are not our ancestors. We do not have to repeat their mistakes. We can choose better. Ambassador Rian visited the monument often. Do you think you really are different? Rian asked Kite during one visit. Kite considered the question. I don't know. We have the same capacity for greatness and horror, the same potential to help or harm. The difference is we know it. We're watching for it. And we've built systems that don't depend on one species being wise or good. That might be wisdom itself, Rian suggested. In orbit, the Defense Fleet conducted exercises with ships from 50 different species. Admiral Dae Won, now retired, watched from Earth. The young captain in charge was making mistakes, learning, growing. That was good. Each generation would have to learn these lessons fresh. The Council flagship, now converted to a diplomatic vessel, left Earth carrying the first delegation to a distant species that had just developed faster-than-light travel. They would extend an invitation, not an ultimatum. Offer friendship, not subjugation. On the moon, the artifact pulsed softly. Dr. Taemin, old now but still curious, visited it regularly. Did we do what you hoped? He asked it. The device offered no answer. It never spoke directly, but its gentle glow seemed approving. Humanity had inherited the galaxy not by conquest, but by choosing to share it. They had learned the lesson their ancestors died to teach. Power is not authority, strength is not righteousness, and the ability to rule does not mean you should. The Galactic Council had vanished moments after threatening Earth. In doing so, they had given humanity an unexpected gift. Not just survival, but understanding. Not just technology, but wisdom. And that made all the difference.